Hey, what's going on, everyone? Mike here in the BFH garage. A little less than a year ago, Summit Racing Equipment developed an OEM replacement lower seat cushion for our Jeep Wrangler TJs. Anybody who's been driving a TJ, we know these things are, some of them are older than 20 years now. The other ones are coming up on 20 years. It was long needed and overdue. I don't know of any other seat replacement cushion that was out there. So Summit stepped up the plate, they developed one, and it has been very, very well received. Now, I did an install video or replacement video on my lower seat cushion of my TJ. At the time, they did not have an upper seat cushion replacement. Well, that is until now. So just recently here, and we're just starting 2025, mid-January 2025, and Summit Racing now has a replacement upper seat cushion for the TJ. And today, I'm going to show you how to install it. As you're opening up the packaging here, you want to make sure if you're using a razor blade that you don't cut into the material. I know that sounds obvious, but there are other people out there besides myself that have done exactly that. So talking from experience, you want to get this open as carefully as possible. So as we open this up, we're going to pull this out. Oh, come on. And there we go. I'm going to check for any additional hardware that might be in the bag. There's nothing else in the bag, so that's good. This is what we're looking at right here. You can see how you have the molded foam injection here. This goes over the seat headrest back up over here. This looks to be very similar to what was in there before. So this should be a very simple process. One thing to keep in mind, if you have aftermarket seat heaters like I do, you're going to have to account for that. Make sure you cut that backing material off the old cushion so we can apply it to the new seat back. First thing we need to do after we have this open now is we need to take the seat out. My guess is you might be able to install this with your seat in the Jeep, but for purposes of videoing this for you, I'm going to pull it out of the Jeep so you can see exactly how everything goes, and hopefully that'll make your install process a little bit clearer. Now, one thing I am trying to do at the same time is I'm trying to track down a problem with my seat back. It kind of leans a little bit back into the right, so I'm going to inspect it real well, make sure I don't have any broken welds in there or something, and if so, I'm going to get that fixed. With the seat out of the Jeep, what I've done is I've clamped it to my welding table. That will help me better show you how all of this goes. If you're like me, you probably have aftermarket seat covers, so I need to get these off next so we can access the original seat covering. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the seat forward as far as it can go. You're going to find a little tab here that has a zipper attached to it, and that's what we need to do to get this off. I took a zip tie and attached it to mine, and that will help pull it across, hopefully without breaking it. Again, these are 20 years old, so you have to be very careful when dealing with this because it's going to be easy to get it crossed up on something else and have it break. And the last thing you want to do is have something on an old Jeep break. Of course, everything has to be harder than it needs to be. So when you're looking right here, my seat's tumbled all the way down. You have this fabric tab here. This tab, they took and pulled over the connecting bar right there. So in order to get this tab off, what I'm going to have to do is pull this bolt out, lift this up a little bit, get the tab to come around and pull it up that way. It is going to be a T45 bolt right here. You can undo that just like that. That is going to release this. Now, the other problem is I got to actually bring the camera in so you can see this. Things start getting a little bit more complicated than I was hoping. So as you come in here, even though I have the bolt out, you see this little rod right here. That thing is connected to that too. So unless you have a way to bend that to get it out, you might be better off just cutting the fabric and pulling it up and over. My guess is for manufacturing, they just did that to hold it in place. It's up to you. I'm going to play around with this a little bit and I'll let you know what I decided on. Unless I find something else to prove otherwise, this is a big pain in the ass. I'm not kidding you here. So I'm trying to get the upper part of the seat off. Like I said, I've got to look at the frame and everything because I think I have a frame problem, but it doesn't matter. Trying to get this cover off to release the foam is already presenting its own challenges. I've never been inside of a seat, so I can't sit here and say that I'm the expert, but I'm going to try to figure it out as we go along here. So what I did is I undid the lower seat cushion. I got everything else out from under there so I can get this handle portion of the upper seat undone. With that out of the way, now what we have is this little part right here. You can see how that's a hook fastener that you need to tilt the seat sideways to get that to undo. And then hopefully I don't lose it down there somewhere. So my next thing is going to be to manipulate this so I can get this entire upper part of the seat undone. Then I'm going to try to figure out how to get the seat cover off to make sure I'm not damaging anything and having it get out of control. Oh man. Finally got it out of there. What a total pain in the ass. So this little piece right here, I believe it is the wire that when you pull underneath here, you slide front and rear. It's already frayed a little bit, so I got to be really careful when I put this thing back together to make sure I don't damage it. But the way I got that off was I had to turn the seat this way, turn over on its side and kind of work it. You'll see I'm talking if you decide to do that. I'm telling you what, it's going to be a pain in the butt to get this thing put back together, but we're already this far, so let's continue this and show you how to get this seat cushion redone. Now, as I'm looking at this right here, the one thing I noticed right off the bat is that there are Velcro kind of enclosures here. So when you look at the new seat foam, you see I have all these Velcro things. So instead of using the hog rings and the hog ring pliers and all that stuff, everything is Velcroed. Because I have a seat heater in there, my seat heater kind of comes up right here, and I'm having problems. I think it's attached to the back side of that, so I'm going to start looking at it a little bit more. But the seat cover should unvelcro all of this and pull straight off the back. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work it. I'm going to film it so you can watch it. You can watch my frustration and whatever. Here we go. So I have my light here, and I'm looking up in here, and sure enough, it's just the Velcro. My problem is when I installed my seat heater, and it has a glue patch is what it is, it's partially on that, and that's what's given me the grief of breaking all this apart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start working the sides of the seat fabric here up and away. I'm going to come back, I'm going to probably cut a little bit of that fabric, or not the fabric, but the old foam to make it release. This Velcro on this stuff is ridiculous. Look at how tight that is coming up. So you can see I get my hand back there. It's right there where that damn seat heater goes. Let me get the rest of this crap out and I'll show you what I'm looking at. Ah, there we go. Good God. That's a little bit over the top. All right. Holy hell. What a pain in the ass. Now remember, I got this zipper part here that needs to come to the outside if I'm going to pull the cover off. Remember these steps because you're probably going to have to do the same thing working backwards, put things where they went before, and that's a key part of it right there. So, holy crap. I'm about over this thing already. Oh, come on. Because I want to retain my seat heater, I'm going to have to do the same thing I did last time, and that's to start peeling it back, taking a razor blade and getting it to all peel off. But I can do that after I have the seat cushion removed, so I'm going to wait to do that. As you're looking here, and you look on the back side of the new version, everything's form-fitting, so I could start peeling this off. There are no hog rings or anything to help hold this in place. So that's kind of nice in that sense. However, it's still a big old pain in the nads. So we'll get this thing the rest of the way off. There we go. Screw you. Now I could take a look at my frame and find out if I had any welds broken or anything. I can repair any of that. Right now it doesn't look like it. So I have no idea why my seat's doing what it was doing. My guess is probably because it has 140,000 miles or whatever on it, and it's just worn out from my big old fat butt sitting in it. So The good news was I didn't find anything broken on that upper seat perch. What I did find, however, is my lower seat frame is broken right there. I knew something was wrong from the way that thing leaned back all cockeyed and everything. So that is awesome. I found that. I can get that fixed right now while I have everything out and apart. So this is kind of a big win for me because that has been nothing but a thorn in my side when I'm riding all cockeyed in the trails there and my back starts hurting. So good news there. After looking at everything a little bit closer, so not only is my seat broken back here, it's got a good crack right here, but I just realized that right here, it's broken completely off of that frame. This is supposed to be bent up and into there. You can see where the welds on the sheet metal eventually broke apart. I've been running on a completely broken seat for a while. Surprised the crap out of me. I don't know if it's going to be better for me to just try to fix this. Actually, I really don't have a choice. I have a trip coming up. So I'm going to just go ahead and weld this, put everything back together. And if I need to get new seats, I'll do that later on. But wow, this one really surprised me on how damaged this thing was. I have no idea what was keeping it all together. That is something else. So got to clean all this stuff up, get it all welded up, and hopefully that seat goes back together a lot easier than it came apart. All right, I got the frame welded up. Man, I tell you what, I can't believe how destroyed that thing was and how it still managed to hold me up. I don't get that part. Let's get back to the meat and potatoes now, and that is putting this new foam onto the old frame. One of the things I can see is already going to be a challenge is we're sliding this through. We still have to get this pull tab through the side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie and I'm going to put it through here. I'm going to tie it all the way down. And then when I go to put it on there, I'll have the zip tie to at least pull that through, and hopefully that'll make a little bit of a difference of getting that on. All right, so I'm already getting everything all filthy again. Remember, we have to take the headrest first. We're going to slide that in this way. In fact, I'm going to turn this over and show you. So we put that there. The headrest has to slide in first behind all of this. Boy, that stuff fits squeaky tight. You can see that. So you're going to have to probably work it a little bit. And going back to my zip tie idea here, I think that's a good idea because this would be a pain in the rear to get this thing through here. So now that I have the zip tie there, I can start working some things through and start molding it to where it needs to go. This has to come, well, let me just show you here. So as you're starting to do this, remember all of this is form fitted, so you have to kind of start tucking stuff into where it's supposed to go. There we go. All right, now that we got all that in place there, I'm going to put this cover back on. And then we got to start finagling the cover, the actual seat cover back on. Went ahead and got my seat heater glued back in. I just use the 3M Super 77 stuff. Stuff works really well. So I have that set there. Now it's time to start getting this seat cover on. Now the seat cover, remember how hard it looked like it was to get it off, and believe me, it was. I'm going to try to just reverse that process. I was debating on turning it all the way inside out and just rolling it down. The problem with that is I'm afraid that it's going to be very, very difficult when you get down to the bottom because it's already tight as it was before. I mean, it was just an absolute nightmare trying to get that thing off. So I don't imagine getting it on would be any easier. All right, so as we start getting that, we're just going to have to work this. It's all you can do, and it's going to take some time. Make sure you're not getting your Velcro stuck as you're doing this. So you're trying to pull it down, all of a sudden you have other Velcro that's sticking. that may happen, and that is going to probably piss me off, but we're going to find out. So once you have it like this, before you start pressing down and getting that Velcro to stick, make sure you have everything as tight as you want it to. In fact, the Velcro already started sticking up here. So continue to try to pull it down and get it nice and snug. Push that Velcro into the Velcro seat there. You also have them on the sides here, so take these and kind of line them up. Start pressing those down. And then you have your one that goes right across here. And then each one of these sides. Looking good so far. Now the fun part, let's get it back together. So before I can put the top of the seat on, I need to get the bottom of the seat. Now, as I do this, I need to remember that I had wires that came through here somewhere that went to somewhere over there underneath there. I don't know exactly where, but guess what? We're going to make it work. And we've somehow got to have this thing sit in here the way it's supposed to. Look at that, it's going right in there. Now don't forget, if you're going to take your seat cover off like I did, or the bottom I should say, when you put this back on and you go to put the upper seat on, we have to account for that zipper lock that was through there. I want to make sure I'm not missing something here. I don't think so. So as I started working the seat cover on, I forgot that I have to get the upper on before I finish tightening it up down there, because I need to get the latch on the side through this one before I pull it tight. The other thing I need to do is account for my little clip here that's going to be extremely fun trying to get it back where it needs to frickin' go. Here we go. There's not many things that'll kick my ass. This one kicked my ass. Trying to get this wire down in there, and mine was already frayed, so I was already operating on borrowed time. I finally got it latched here, and it broke. So I'm gonna be without, I don't know if it's a function to make it pop forward or whatnot. I'm gonna find out when I get it put back together, but right now I'm kind of pissed off. So now everything should go together fairly smooth, because it's just a simple matter of sliding this thing. So this handle has to go through the pocket, get this stuff through everything, and get it bolted up. So it should be fairly straightforward from here on out. I'm almost embarrassed to come out from behind this seat for the fact that it absolutely kicked my ass to get this job done. However, we are done with it. We have the seat back and everything in there. And I'm telling you what, if you're going to do this job, looking back on it now, I think you can do it without taking the seat out. The only question is that zipper on that side. If yours on the wrong side of that bolt, you may have to do something with that. But if you can somehow finagle that, that seat cover off, and it's going to be tough, because on the back side here you have zippers that go behind stuff too. So depending on which side of a bolt it's on, you may or may not be lucky. You may be able to just remove a bolt and put the zipper on the right side, and you're going to be good to go. This is my first time doing an upper like this, and I remember when I did the seat heater years and years and years ago, all I did was flop that back up there, stick it on there, called it good. So I never had the full seat cover off. So this is a new one for me. Anyway, I hope this video helps you not experience the same problems that I had. Now, with that being said, the proof's in the pudding. I got to get this mounted in the TJ. I'm going to get up there, sit, see how it feels. And I'm dying to see how different it feels now that I fixed all of those broken welds. I cannot believe my seat back frame was destroyed like that, and I was still willing in it, wondering why my back hurts. I'm driving, you know, like anyway, driving all crooked, and that's the way it goes. So now I'm going to get this thing mounted in here. I'm kind of glad I had it taken out as well, because I did notice on my seat heater plug, I had a wire that got pinched and it exposed a little bare wire, so I was able to put a little connector on that to secure that. So that was good, but let's get this thing in and let me sit in it and see if it is worth, the juice is worth the squeeze. I'm not so sure right now. So I found out what my issue was with the wire piece I broke. It is for the tumble part of the fold and tumble. And when I went to put the seat back in there, I couldn't get it to tumble forward, and I had to pull the seat back out. About lost my mind again. With that being said, though, luckily, there is a override. There's a little, like a paddle down here. You push down on it, and you're able to fold and tumble manually. So if you break that wire, feel around underneath your seat, and you're going to find that little paddle part, and you'll be able to fold it forward. So that's awesome. All right, first initial impression. Wow. I'm not leaning back like this anymore, but that wasn't part of my old seat foam. That was from the broken frame that I welded up. So now I'm squared up in the seat. My first impression of the foam, though, is it is very similar. It matches the bottom seat foam. It's very firm and holds me up. Now, the bottom seat foam, when I used to sit in my old seat, you can see how the top of my head comes above the roll bar. Well, before it didn't. It came down below. Now I feel like Dino from the Flintstones. But anyway, this is firm. It holds me up. It gives me all the support I need. My welds aren't going to break. That's good. The initial impression is 2 thumbs up, without a doubt. I want to say Summit, they really stepped up to the game in this one. So the thing I want to point out more than anything is that all of my frustration had to do with my actual seat, not the foam. The foam itself is absolutely fine. It's a great repair option for fixing your seat back. I think it is great. It's firm, it gives me all the support I need. The frustration I had came from dealing with the broken welds, having to get all that taken apart, pulling the seat out, getting everything pulled apart, breaking that wire, you name it. I mean, I had a hell of a time trying to gauge where I was with this thing. Part of it was because I've never been into the backside of one of these seats, or the underside, I should say, of one of these seats before. So for me, it was a new experience, and I'm hoping that this video keeps you from having that same experience. This ends up being a 2-for-1 on a cushion replacement, because you also see now how to see if your frame's broken and how to weld it to fix it. And I'm telling you what, that thing is solid right now. I feel absolutely comfortable in there. Summit, great job for stepping up and getting us some of these replacement parts, because we certainly need them with these Jeeps being old. Now, one last thing I was going to say is on the my old seat back cushion, I thought it needed to be replaced because of the way that seat went back. That cushion's not in bad shape. I probably could have kept using it the way it was, but I had to dive in there to figure out what was wrong with my frame and why it was sitting there. I can say now that my cushion is no longer good because I stabbed it about 100 times out of frustration. But anyway, we're all done here. I hope this video helps you out. If you have any questions on it, give me a holler. If not, I'll see you out on the trails.